Good evening, everybody. Thursday Night Live. Let's do this.
That.
There we go.
There we go.
Hey, what's
I
going
was
on?
trying to be inconspicuous with my AirPod in my other ear. So
Oh, it's okay.
apparently you need both of them.
Yeah, I don't know how those work. I've never had AirPods. I've always kind of thought
I'm
they'd be pretty cool to have, but
they're kind of bougie. But I had one too many situations on the elliptical where my
yeah,
phone went flying because I was in it
yeah,
and I got wrapped up in the cord. And so after you embarrass yourself in front of everybody at the gym,
yeah,
your husband, well, or your wife will buy you AirPods.
yeah. I have the big Sony over the ear
Oh,
ones, so that
oh,
they're always canceling, so I don't even hear anybody else around me. It's pretty cool.
oh, yeah, yeah. So no, I'm working with them. I don't know. I don't use them very often, but it is nice, like when I'm gardening, to
Yeah,
have my phone and then just be able to be hands free and listen to my music. So, but I
yeah.
am afraid I'm gonna drop one in the toilet or the pool or something. So,
I have heard it's also a good way to snoop on your kids.
is it?
Well,
Oh,
evidently you can like turn some sort of like setting on inside your phone, and then you can leave your phone in the room where things are going on, and walk out of the room and listen on your app earpod.
oh. Well, when Charlotte's older, maybe I'll do that. But I only have one child, so
Yeah,
and she's 7, so right now she's pretty innocent. So
yeah. I have one 6-year-old. She'll be
yes,
7 in 15 days. So
okay. Well, there you go. We are parenting in the same years.
I know it. I know it. I love it. And we've both like lost 150,
You're
150 pounds, right?
big losers.
I was cracking up. You were like, I called you a big loser. I hope that's okay.
I did. But just so you know, you were in good company because I called
Yep.
myself the same thing.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Well, I don't
Oh
know how many of
goodness.
these you've got to watch, but I really appreciate you getting to come on with me
Yes,
and
yes.
do a
I've watched
conversation.
I've watched a few. It's
Yeah,
typically bedtime in our house, so I don't always tune in live, but I did
yeah,
go back and watch a few of them. So, yeah, I
yeah.
have. It's
It's
kind of
fun
a cool
stuff.
thing you're doing. It is fun.
Yeah,
It's
it's always good to
fun.
get to know somebody else's story and just, if there's always one or two things that somebody will say or something that'll prompt
Yeah.
me to say something that
Yep.
really can help other people figure out different components of their journey. So it's pretty fun. So
Yeah.
anyway, I always start pretty much the same way, and then we'll go from there. Talk about
Okay.
food, activity, and mindset. But just really want to know, like, for you, how you found out that WW existed. Like, how did it come into
Oh,
your life back in the day, and
yeah.
then maybe how many times you've used it, what made it work
Okay.
this time, and that kind of stuff.
Okay. So, I come from generational obesity. That's how it is. I am one of those. We have family history of being overweight. And so my first introduction to WW would have been, of course, through my mother.
Mm.
But for me, my very first memory of attending a WW meeting on my own at my choice. Um, Thanks for the hair compliment. I see you, girl. I have to
Gina.
say thank you. Thank you, Gina. Um, but my first experience on my own, self driven, would have been I was probably about 17.
Mm.
It would have been late 90s, early 2000. I have vivid memories of finishing my internship at the dental office, going in my scrubs, and weighing in at the little meeting that Joy C., who is still a coach in Elkhart, Indiana, she did that meeting. I remember her vividly. So that was my first experience. I probably, I struggled with my weight my entire life. So I never remember a time when I wasn't overweight.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I was in high school and I think I was in the 200s, low 210s, 220s. And I'm like, I'm going to lose weight. And I don't remember really being successful. I remember fruits were still smart points, still had points. I don't know if you go back that far.
No,
If
I
you're
started 2015 the first time.
okay, okay, first time. Okay. So my first, yeah. So fruit still had points. Bananas were 2 smart points.
Wow.
I think about that every time I have a banana. Um, so that was my first experience with it. I don't remember what happened. I think just you're a teenager and life gets in the way. And then I allowed my weight to climb. And I remember I I think I weighed about 288 pounds, and I decided I was going to lose weight again in my early 20s, and probably 2004. And I had a girlfriend that wanted to lose weight with me, so we had a buddy system, and we went back to Joy's meetings in Elkhart, Indiana, and we lost weight together. And I lost 100 pounds in a year that time. And you know, I look back on that situation, and I think, why was I successful, but then why could I not maintain that success? And I have preached through this journey, make sustainable change so your weight loss will maintain.
Yeah.
So what I did was I ended up being at the gym twice a day. I was going in the morning, I was going in the evening, I was ballroom dancing every weekend, every day of the weekend. That's a little known fact about me.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was obsessive about it.
Yeah.
And it was not sustainable. And then I got a little bit cocky, and I was thinking I was looking pretty good. And so I got comfortable. And then you think you're exercising so much that then you think you can have this splurge, or you can do this, or you can do that. And so I would eat more. And then I just got comfortable, and then comfortable led to being complacent. And I gained weight again. I also fell in love during that time. So I don't want to blame everything on that, but I was already gaining weight, but I started dating my husband. And so I think my lowest adult weight that I remember that's not right now currently was 188 pounds after I'd lost that 100 pounds. And then when we got married, I was like 220. And that was almost 13 years ago. And we got married, and you know, when you get married, I'm sure a lot of, well, I don't know if men go through this. Maybe you can, do you gain weight when you get married, Phil? Because your wife's trying to make you happy and she's cooking everything delicious?
I don't know exactly what I weighed when I got married, but
Yeah.
I definitely know that about halfway through this journey, I could fit in the clothes that I was wearing on our wedding rehearsal night.
Okay.
So
okay.
I couldn't wear those when I was at the big. So, I mean,
Yeah.
when I first started. So definitely I was probably 70 or 80 pounds. And that was 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so I just gained weight. I just kept gaining weight. And it was, I'd left my hometown. I'd left my support system. I had a job an hour away from home. We gutted and renovated our farmhouse. I mean, we went through a lot of stuff in the first 4 years of our marriage. And we didn't have a kitchen. So it was like, what can we throw in the microwave, or what can we get for fast food? And so, I just gained weight, and I ended up, I think we tried to get pregnant, and we tried for a year and a half, and I wasn't getting pregnant. And I had started working for a local hospital, and within that hospital system, the self-funded insurance that they offered would have covered bariatric surgery for me at 100%. And so I said, well, you know what? While I'm here, I might as well start qualifying. And one of the qualifications is you do 6 months of monitored weight loss. So for me, I knew Weight Watchers worked because I had done it before. So I decided to just join Weight Watchers and lose weight and qualify for bariatric surgery. So I did that in November of 2011. I joined Weight Watchers and faithfully followed it. I weighed in at 338 pounds, and when I joined then, and I in 5 months, I'd lost 40 pounds. So that put me under 300. And you know, those first few months are so crucial. They start building your confidence when you start finding success, and you start thinking, well, I can do this. I've been doing this for 5 months. I don't need bariatric surgery. I can just keep losing weight. And so we said, well, I lost some weight. Let's see if we can get pregnant. And we were able to conceive. I got pregnant with Charlotte, weighing 298 pounds. I carried her full term without any problems and delivered her weighing 355 pounds. I remember because I whispered it to the nurse when she did my intake, because I was embarrassed to say that. because there's a lot of stigma involved with women who are overweight and who are carrying babies and how they treat you in the hospital. But that's a whole different story with a whole different audience.
Yeah, I mean, I know at that weight for me, when I was above that, there was in 2015, what got me very first started was I needed to lose 22, 25 pounds to get under the maximum amount that health insurance would cover.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, I was like, oh my gosh, I weigh 355 pounds. Yes, there was a 7-pound baby involved and a ton of water weight. So I lost some weight after I had her. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to nurse this baby and I'm going to lose weight. It's just going to fall off of me. It did not work that way for me. And I was on maternity leave. I went back to maternity leave, working in healthcare. And between giving birth to her and like the next few weeks, I was down to like 300 pounds. I'd lost that much. But I went back to work and it crept back on. And then over the course of 2 years, I gained those 55 pounds back. And I was 355 pounds, not pregnant. And let's see. So that brings me to November. So I had all these times. This is probably like my fifth time on Weight Watchers across my lifetime. And not just Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, meal replacement shakes, Atkins, elimination diets, you name it, and I probably did it. I remember going and buying the drinks at Walgreens that were supposed to help you lose weight, the little colorful liquid things with all the things in them you're not supposed to take anymore because research shows they don't really help you. And they cause other problems. So my turning point this time, I mean, that's the background. My turning point this time was in November of 2015. We had a family up here. We had family pictures taken. And I remember getting dressed that day. I remember getting dressed a lot of days at 355 pounds, and I would be in tears. I would just be in tears because I was hoping that the seam in my pants didn't split when I got out of the car. And so if you don't know me, I cry easily. If you just, it's a thing. I'm fine.
The same as that way. We're a lot like. I know like 4 other things that you said that we're alike as well. I'll go over those in a minute.
Okay. Oh, okay. And so we had family pictures taken, and I remember getting dressed for those. And I was wearing my maternity pants that my mother made me out of my size 28 women's wide leg pants. She had made maternity pants for me because I couldn't find them in my 3rd trimester. And so she made them, but I wasn't pregnant, but I had to wear them, but I wasn't pregnant. And I remember standing next to my husband, and we're holding Charlotte, and she's almost 2, a few months out from being 2. And I remember I wanted to turn sideways like this because I thought I'd be narrower from front to back than I was from hip to hip. You know what? Denial smacked me in the face when those pictures came back. And I saw what I had been hiding behind me all those years. And then as a parent, you start realizing the years are fleeting and they fly by. And in my mind, I thought, she's going to be 2, but next year she's going to be 3. And the year after that, 4. We're talking preschool. We're talking kindergarten. And I labeled myself the fat mom. I know I say that, and I always tell people, I don't label other people that way. That's how I felt about myself and about how people would label me. That was how I felt they would perceive me. So I thought, okay, I've got to lose weight because I can't get on the floor. I can't volunteer in the school. I can't fit in those itty bitty tiny kid seats that they use at the school. And I want to go, and I don't want to sit on the bench and watch my daughter's life go by. And that was the moment. That was like, no, we're doing something. I'm changing something. And I only have a few years to make a difference in my health so that I can start impacting her life in a more positive way. So I joined Weight Watchers in December, end of December, beginning of January, 2016. And here we are, 50 something months later, and 194 pounds lost.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
I don't even know. I
Yeah.
don't like whose life am I living and who
Yeah.
is this woman that I see in the mirror? And I know you feel the same way.
Yeah.
It
What was it like for you to get to that point to where you had lost more than you weighed? Like where the losses were greater than the number on the scale?
I still I still don't feel like that's settled in.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
there's
that's
so
rare.
much.
That's rare. I mean, I still would
It's
have to lose
rare.
50 more pounds to get to that number.
Yeah. Yeah. So that number for me was what, 167 and a half,
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah, I'm half my size and then some
Yeah.
now, or and then not some.
Yeah.
um, it was surreal. I remember that day because I put those pants on, those size 28 wide leg
Mhm.
pants, and I thought I used to fill these out.
Yeah.
I can't even hold these up. Like I literally, they will not stay on my body.
Yeah.
And yet I was bursting at the seams of these pants,
Mhm. Yeah.
hoping that today they still buttoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then what I find is funny, not funny. I had a realization. I do these things called track talks or trail talks where it's really my own personal therapy session where I
Yeah.
talk about the crazy things in my mind and I just record them for everybody else's viewing pleasure. But one day I was thinking about how tall I was and what my hip circumference was.
Hmm.
And I was wider around than I was tall.
Whoa.
Yeah. I had a 60-inch hip measurement and I'm
Mhm.
5'4",
Well, all right.
right? Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
the right math?
I
60?
mean, 5 feet is
About?
60. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there you go. We're about, we're
Yeah. About the same
almost.
though. Like
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
this
Okay. Math.
way and this way. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you flattened me out, I would have been a square.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just been a lot of milestones have been very surreal, almost like I'm on the outside looking in to
Hmm.
somebody else's life. Um, yeah, I'm still, I'm still having my mind catch up with my body.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for over 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, um, there's a lot of character that's built over time that helps to improve your chances of continued success.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
So what was the mindset part that was different going into this time? Like, or maybe even maybe you didn't have necessarily the mindset starting it, but as you
Hmm.
started to lose this,
Hmm.
something got you just thinking, I got to do the sustainability thing. I've got to do
Yep.
something that lasts. I
Yep.
mean, for this time, it was different because you had a kid, maybe. Like, what are
Yeah.
some of
I'm
those things all
so
combined?
well. So when I joined, there were a lot of things in my life that felt out of control.
Mm.
I was working in healthcare, and the healthcare industry and the particular practice that I was working in, some things were going on that I wanted to change, but I couldn't control the change.
Yeah.
Charlotte was diagnosed with speech apraxia, and that felt out of control. It's a speech delay. And I just thought, and my weight was out of control. And I thought, what is something I can control? I can control what I eat and how much I move.
Yeah.
But to think about both of those same things at the same time was overwhelming. So I knew that I had to do things differently than I did them before.
Yeah.
And that meant focus on one thing and focus on doing one thing well. Weight Watchers talks about WW.
Yeah.
It's so hard when you have generate like decades
Yeah.
of history. They talk about the pillars of success: your meals, your movement, and your mindset. And to me, the foundation that supports all of those pillars is your meals and your
Mhm.
food and your relationship with food. And so when you start trying to play around with all the other things before you focus on the foundation, nothing is going to be built and be
Yeah.
strong and firm. And so that was what I said. I said, I'm just going to focus on food
Yeah.
because I know that you can make change just with food. And so once you start feeling better and you start nourishing yourself and your body responds to that and you start making progress,
Yeah.
it builds your self confidence and your self esteem. And then that motivates you to make the other changes. Ooh, lots of hearts. Did you just see all that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Somebody's loving on us. I love it.
Woo! I love it. I love it. Hey, Cynthia, Peggy. I got some of my girls here tonight. So I just want to give them my love. But that is the thing. That is when we fail to see the success that we want, it's not because we're not drinking enough water, typically.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
It really comes down to that foundation, and you need to make sure that that foundation is firm and strong. So for 10 months, my main focus was food. And with that, I'd lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I was under 300. So then I was like, I feel pretty good. I'm getting, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me. I lost 50 pounds. And so then I was like, oh, let's see what I can do now.
Yeah.
And so then I started adding in fitness in my journey. I said to somebody yesterday about deadlines we put on our journey.
Mm-hmm.
And the deadlines add added pressure. And when we
Yeah.
don't meet a deadline or we don't think we can, there is this internal sense to just abort mission.
Yeah.
So I've never put a deadline on my weight loss. And then something hit me. Jay Shetty last week in Oprah's thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Oprah or him, but I'm just going to have to go back and watch it. But somebody made the statement, we need to start focusing on the practices instead of the finishing. Focus on what you're practicing instead of what you're finishing.
Yeah.
And that hit me last week. And I thought, that is what I've been doing. Thank you for like speaking about what I have been encouraging this whole time, and what you encourage your members to do.
Yeah.
Because it's those practices, those things you do every day repeatedly that you do to help improve your efficiency, your proficiency, is what helps you support your success. We will never finish practicing those things.
Mm-mm. I say all the time that.
Would you like a word in edgewise?
Oh no, it's totally fine. This is all about you. I talk all the time, so.
So do I.
It's what we need to start thinking about is whatever it is. When you write that goal down, it is super productive to actually write or say those goals, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then from there, start just deconstructing that thing backwards, whatever it is to obtain that. Mm-hmm. That can't be the final chapter of your life. Like, unless you're saying my only goal that I'm pursuing now is to be eternally with my creator, well, just keep pursuing that one. That one's fine.
Right.
But everything else in life, like, there's going to come a time when you either accomplish it or you give up accomplishing it. And once you've got it and you have it in your hand, is that the only thing you wanted in life? Most likely not. You want to learn how to use that. You want to spend that. You want to take it and give some of that away. Mm-hmm. You want to live in it or reside in it. Mm-hmm. So part of that whole success for me is figuring out what from the future can I bring to me slowly today. And it may not be in full, but it may be so that I can build this thing so that I actually can say that I built this, not that I did this, I earned this money, and then I bought that or whatever. Like this is the same thing in our journey. Like, I don't want to just say, man, I would love it if I've lost 150 pounds. And then I skipped every all of those days to get to where I am today and be like, well, Phil, you've lost 150 pounds. Is your life perfect? No. Is it better than it was? Yes. Mm-hmm. Do you love where you're at today? Yes. Do you want to continue on? Yes. And the joy that I get to live in today by going ahead and starting to live in joy and live and thrive in accepting that today is the best day that I can live. I can't even live tomorrow. I'm not guaranteed that. So that's the thing, is like, this next 40 pounds, if it takes me another year or if it takes me 2 or 3 or whatever, when I get there, the goal is not to get there. The goal is to have lived every one of those days that get me to there. And then from there, I will have continued, So, I feel like a lot of people get caught up in seeking a specific number, or they want to do it for a specific event. Like, I want to lose this weight so that I can be the beautiful bride that I want to be, or I can run the marathon that I want to run, or whatever those are. Those are worthy causes. But I would say for success and sustainability, you have to start bringing back what you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now, for the rest of your life, and those kind of things. And a lot of times for me, that has some to do with food, but not a lot to do with food. For me, most of that
No.
falls into mindset
Yeah.
because I can only tweak my food so much. And what I mean by that is I can only eat exactly the right smart points
Mm-hmm.
given whatever food they are. I can always try to get healthier and change that up and, uber healthy or figure out a way to make a Big Mac fit. Either one of those, they both
Right.
on the WW plan will work. I can
Yeah.
say I'm only going to eat kale and green beans, or I can have pizza. They both can work on the plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that says what is best for me today, and I want more of that. I want more of that ability to live in the moment and say, is this best for me, and actually do the mental work to assess every part of my life.
Yeah. So I call it the what behind why, the why behind what we do. The
Yeah.
why behind the what. What
Yeah.
are we doing and why are we doing it? And then be able to own what
Yeah.
it is and to be proud of why we're doing what we do. And
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot. I had a little challenge where we focused on the character trait of keeping the promises we make to ourselves and
Mhm.
how that translates to our weight loss journey, because nobody else cares about
Yeah.
what your tracker says during the day, how many ounces of water you drink, or whether you got up at sunrise and took a walk,
Yeah.
or if you have your 10,000 steps. Nobody else cares but you. And so you, at the end of the day, have to be the one who has to be proud of the choices you make.
Yeah.
You have to be proud of them. I told someone yesterday, I said, you can go to bed with your successes or you can go to bed with your excuses.
Yep.
That to me, like, I'm like, okay, what choice am I making today? Why am I making this choice?
Yeah.
Why in this moment do I want to go and eat all the graham crackers?
Mhm.
It's not the food. It's the I said it to Natalie. I did say
Yeah.
it to Natalie. But for me, what is motivating the behavior?
Mhm.
Why am I practicing that?
Yeah.
And is that a healthy practice?
Yeah, and I say it all the time. We did some training for trauma care of people. Did like this 10-week course, and one of the main things that I took away from it, so many things that we took away from that, is that all behavior is an unmet need. No matter what it is, every behavior is an unmet need. So you have to figure out
Mm-hmm.
what that unmet need is
Mm-hmm.
and satisfy that. And it's not always calories. It's, sometimes the
No.
healthiest thing that you need is a conversation with mom or a
Yeah.
sister or a friend or whatever,
Yeah.
just to have that moment where you say,
Mm-hmm.
man, I know you love me, and that doesn't mean I need to eat Oreos. I need to have a conversation with you.
Right.
And you
Right.
do that, and that same thing that's within us, those soft words, those kind words that will draw us
Mm-hmm.
from our protective lower brain, that is fight, flight, or flee,
Mm-hmm.
will bring us back into our prefrontal cortex where we can think logically, and we think that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's a reason that
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it is not found in the sleeve of Oreos.
No.
Hey, I want to jump in here for just a second and take a pause, and we'll hear from one of our sponsors. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back.
Hey family, let me tell you about my favorite protein bars. Yeah, you know them. Healthy eating all the time bars. Heat-go.com. Check them out. They are gluten-free, all natural, no additives, no preservatives, naturally sweetened with honey made right here in the United States. The goal for them is to provide a fulfilling, conscious-free bar that are fun fuel for your body that allows you to feel nourished throughout your whole day. Find them online at heat-go.com and on Instagram at healthyeat_onthego.com. If you need a 12% discount, use the code FEELGOOD. Now back to our program.
So.
So, what is your go-to activity? Like, I see you do the trail walks and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is it? What is your like go-to that you've kind of learned that this is what I need to do in your sustainability level? And like,
Mm-hmm.
and also, I always love to know like what thought processes go in your head when you don't get activity now that you've been doing it for a while. So, talk about
Mm-hmm.
that.
So my go-to is walking.
Okay.
It's my go-to. I have, I don't want to say preached, but I have advocated for the Walk at Home series with Leslie Sanson because Maria knows I love walking, walk, 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 walk. I do because it is something most everybody can do unless you're dealing with a disability. All of us, you know, for me, it was something early on that I could do.
Mhm.
And so I did that. But then, well, what about the weather? Well, I can walk inside, and that's where the videos came in.
Mhm.
And I have done that. I did that for the entirety of the 4 years, the like 4 years of my journey. It wasn't until November that I joined the gym. It
Yeah.
wasn't until November that I even grabbed a weight to lift it. It wasn't until November that I started taking Zumba and Pound and all these other things.
Mhm.
Um, so I do have an elliptical in my garage, and you would think, oh, she's got an elliptical. That's great. I hate using that thing.
I do too. It's bad on my
I
knee.
hate it. I hate it. I have knee problems. I have a herniated disc at L4 and L5. I've got numbness in my right leg. I can't feel my right pinky toe.
Mm.
Like, I have issues. I have issues. But walking is something I can do.
Yeah.
I do not aspire to be a runner. I wog once in a while, a little walk jog, a little
Yeah.
wogging. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with that. So I get this question a lot, how often do you exercise? And I say I exercise every day I can,
Mhm.
because someday will come and I can't.
Yeah.
And so whether it is just taking a walk, like this morning I went out and I took a 1.5 mile walk. That's what I had. I came in and I took a Zumba class. And after that, amongst like daily activities, I only had like 8,000 steps. So I was like, oh no. So I struggle to find balance when it comes to activity,
Mm.
because I know what I'm capable of, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I have pushed myself where I've done 20,000 steps every day for 7 days, thinking that
Yeah.
was going to break through a plateau. Well, it didn't,
Mhm.
but I'm capable of it. So then do I have to do it every day? I'm still finding that balance, because I feel
Yeah.
like, especially with those who've lost a lot of weight, we have to change how we view fitness across our journey. Because
Mhm.
what I can do now and what I'm capable of is different than what I was capable of at 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I have that mentality, well, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. And that was like the whole weight, like lifting weights. I don't want to lift weights.
Yeah. I
I don't.
think it's crucial also for us to learn to listen to our body and
Mm-hmm.
not force it to do things that we don't want to do. Like
Yeah.
you're more likely to continue and sustain something that you find some level of joy in. So finding that
Mm-hmm.
thing that brings you
Exactly.
joy is critical. I
And for
know
me,
yeah,
that's always been dance.
yeah.
That has been dance since I was 12 years old. And I went to ballroom dance lessons because my mom wanted to know how to dance with her daughters.
Mm.
And I did that. I took ballroom dance lessons off and on for 10 years. And there's something about that that just feeds me on the
Yeah.
inside. And I'm not artistic, like I with brush and paper or
Mm.
whatever, but that's the way I can be.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's where Zumba came in. I'm like, just do it. Pound lets me move. Sometimes even Leslie, you can do a little jam with Leslie.
Yeah.
And that brings me joy. But I agree with that. It has to be something that 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 sparks joy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
One of the things saying joy reminded me, my coach's name is Joy.
oh,
So your first coach is Joy. My coach's
yes.
name is Joy as well. And
Yeah.
we actually work I attend her meeting, but we also work 2 meetings together. So it's pretty
Okay.
cool. So
Yeah.
we share that. And then the other thing, while we're talking about that,
Uh-huh.
is you said something about working in the dental field, and I work in the dental
Yeah.
field. So
Oh, yeah. So I took dental assisting actually in high school as part of
yeah.
a vocational school. Like we had like career center
Mhm.
vocational training. I took 2 years of dental assisting, and I ended up in an orthodontic office
Okay.
in my senior year, and was trained on the job in orthodontics. And I was in orthodontics for 10 years. 10 years. And
Wow.
then I went to general dentistry. And then from there, I ended up in like uh, medical office management,
Okay.
which is where I ended my 17 years in healthcare, was after I was managing an internal medicine practice.
Okay.
I just said, you know what? I don't want to deal. I would go back to dentistry, but
Yeah.
then I have carpal tunnel from doing it for so long. So it's like, I really can't do that. And now, so it's just, anyway, so Anyway,
Well,
I don't want to be in medicine. I don't want to be in health, like that kind of health care. I don't want to be text messaged at 3 a.m. in the morning with somebody's health emergency and it's life or death. It was too stressful for me.
yeah, yeah.
Some people can do that, and I can't imagine what people in healthcare have gone through these last 3-4 months, and the stress and the anxiety that they bring home to their families, and my heart goes out to them. I just realized it's not a profession that I mentally can handle. I couldn't imagine working in the dental office and going back to it. And I know Cynthia does, and I know other people probably who follow us work in the office, and it's like one of the most hazardous jobs now.
Hmm.
Like that scares me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a crown put on number 30 last week. This week.
Ah, how's that going?
Oh, it's a temporary. So I get my real one put on in like 2
Oh,
weeks, but it's all
okay.
good. I just had a crack,
Okay.
and they had to have a temporary
It
crown.
happens.
Yeah,
It happens. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So I definitely know all the pain that you're talking about. We had to help uh, hundreds and hundreds of people get unemployment insurance, help close
Yeah.
hundreds of dental offices,
Hmm.
and get PPE loans. So
Yeah.
chased all that down. So whenever all this COVID stuff started, my technical job like doubled down and got twice as busy.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's just now starting to calm down. Where as in like I almost feel like I could take a day off next week for the first time.
Yay!
So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but like I mean it's calming down. We got
No,
some other
you
projects
need to
that
make it happen.
yeah
You can't pour from an empty cup, Phil.
yeah. So it's been interesting, but so how does your family with
Hmm.
husband and the one
Yeah.
child of 7 and yourself, how do y'all handle food at your home?
I make it, you
Yeah,
eat it.
that's right. Whatever mama wants
So,
to make.
happy wife, happy life.
There you go.
So, my husband has been so supportive. I mean, you have to think about it. Our spouses, they're reaping some benefits.
Yeah.
I kind of talked about how the other day I had um, a chat about something, and I said, anyway, it's a window wisdom with Tamara. It's a silly segment where I sit in
Yeah.
front of the window and I try to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I love it.
Okay. It'll be on my YouTube next week for people who don't already have access to it. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I was talking about how the weight that we had, I felt like my husband made allowances for me and maybe didn't have the same expectations
Hmm.
for me as a spouse. Like he gave me a lot more grace
Yeah.
than because of my weight. There were things I couldn't do. It made him have to do other things that I couldn't take care of or didn't have the energy or just the physical stamina. So when it comes to like weight loss, I mean, I told him the other day, and this is going to sound really snotty, and I say, baby, you invested well.
Yeah.
I said, look at this. You married me, and now look what you got. I'm like fine wine.
I
I mean,
love
it's
it.
just a funny thing. You're just
Yeah.
between spouses. He knew it was a joke, but because of that, he's so supportive of this journey. And my heart goes out to people who don't have that in their homes, where
Mm.
they're battling against people bringing in all of the trigger foods, all the foods with no
Yep.
breaks, not appreciating the meals, not eating what they want. I don't have that. And I think that has also been a nice support. The other thing is I will I will be very vocal about the things that I cannot allow myself to eat.
Mm.
That doesn't mean I'm going to never let Charlotte have ice cream.
Yeah.
It just means that I either have to make a choice that I'm going to have it with her, and I've done that, and I've given up my weeklies to have ice cream with her, but she will eat most of what I make. Some of the things, she doesn't like fish,
Yeah.
and we have salmon probably once a week, and so I just give her something different.
Mm.
I just make her a piece of chicken or whatever, but
Yeah.
she's pretty good. Kevin's never complained. He looks out for me as far as food. He asked the other day, he bought fig Newtons, those little fig bars things.
Hmm.
He goes, are these going to be okay in the house? Or do I need to put them somewhere else? And it's kind of embarrassing to have to say that,
Yeah.
but I appreciate that he acknowledges that that he realizes that that is an issue. He said the same thing because I said he was doing the grocery shopping because I have an underlying health condition. And so he'd been doing the grocery shopping. And he said, if I got some chips or something, would that be a problem for you? And I said, not this week.
Yeah. A lot.
Not this week. And I didn't. I had one out of the very, very last crumbs of the bag.
Yeah.
So he's just really good about that. He's lost some weight in just like the last few months. His blood pressure was rising and he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you know, the best thing you can do before we prescribe medicine is, and he's not a big guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he's I don't know. I don't want to talk about him because he's not here. But
Yeah.
but he could probably lose 30 or 40, maybe 30 pounds. And so the doctor said, yeah, if you lost weight, you know, and he said, the doctor was asking me, you know, have I ever had to lose weight before? Do I know how to do that? He goes to the doctor, he goes, my wife's lost 200 pounds through diet and exercise. I got the best coach at home.
There you go.
If I tell her you said I need to lose some weight, she'll be right on that.
Yeah.
So, and he's lost about 15 pounds. And he hasn't really made a ton of changes. He just stopped snacking, he says. I'm like, mm-hmm.
Well, I think that right there is a key thing for a lot of people to know, and for everybody that would watch this video. It's not that dramatic how much you have to change to actually get to reel it back in. Like when WW breaks it down in this most simple way possible, being smart points, you're looking at little nuggets of your day, you know, 56 calorie bites that go through there, and you're given, you know, 17 if you're on purple, or 30 if you're on green, or somewhere in the middle if you're on blue, or whatever the number is for you. It's, you know, according to your height, weight, age, and gender, sex. Then that little number, I mean, you might be only eating 5 or 6 or 8 or 12 smart points over. So how can I eliminate 6 smart points and get me back in for 6 days out of 7, and you lose a pound? Oh, it's not that dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, well, let's do an assessment here. What you ate last week? Oh my gosh, you ate 387 smart points.
Yeah. Well, when I started, I was at McDonald's for 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
And I always I would watch those shows, like My 600-Pound Life. I'd be like, I don't eat like those people.
Yeah, that's not a food problem. I did. That's a behavior problem, right?
It was.
Yeah, but,
and yeah.
I mean, that's poor behavior for anyone to do that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh, I'll go to McDonald's and I'll get an Egg McMuffin and a hash brown and an orange juice, but it's the Egg McMuffin. It's not the biscuit. So I felt like that was a better choice. And then at lunch, I would get the 10-piece chicken nugget. Because I was getting chicken and not a burger, I was going to splurge and get a milkshake.
Yeah.
And then on the way home, I didn't want to cook because I'd been in the office for 12 hours and I was tired. And so we'd run through, but I'd get an extra fry and I'd eat the fry before I got home.
Yeah.
And leave the trash in the car. So my husband didn't know I had 2 fries.
Oh yeah. Like, I used to buy travel nuggets all the time. Like whatever full combo meal I was buying, I would add on a 4-piece nugget to eat as I drove home.
Yes. So when I was working an hour from home, I would drive by this little convenience store and they had Michigan made ice cream that they like hand scooped. And I had it timed. I knew exactly what size of ice cream cone I could get and eat and have it done before I got home, 12 minutes away.
Okay.
Yeah, that was early on. But it was like, for me, it was like, I've been so stressed. I just drove through Grand Rapids traffic and I'm almost home. It was like this reward for like, living life.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was rewarding myself for just living life. It was just, I didn't know how to cope.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to cope.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, and this is one of the things where my self-assessment of behaviors to the aspect of what we call now living a mindful life. I was living full out mindlessly. And by that, I mean, I wasn't trying to do anything deceptive, or I wasn't trying to hide food, but I was so ingrained in poor habits that those habits just had such a hold on my day that I would eat a normal breakfast here, whatever it was, leave, and drive to work. And on my drive to work, 8 or 12 miles down surface streets, I would pass multiple restaurants. Very often
Mm-hmm.
it was McDonald's, 2 burritos, or it was a Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid that they're running some kind of special that for 35 cents more you get two. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that. And like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to save that one for later. I'm going to go ahead and eat
No.
it, knowing
No.
that I didn't need
Yeah.
any of those calories, much less both of them. And
Right.
then lunchtime comes, I'm still going to eat lunch. I go home, still eat dinner. And
Mm-hmm.
I would go to work in hospitals, and then when I get done, I'll be like, I'm thirsty. Let's get a snack. So bag of cheese,
Mm-hmm.
a bag of Famous Amos cookies,
Yep.
bag of chips, whatever it was.
Yep.
And I was eating all that, and there was zero assessment of whether or not I was hungry. It was all circumstantial and all just passive ways for me to satisfy that thing that was going on in me that said you need something. And what is this void? And there was no assessment of what would fulfill that void. It could have been just water. Like if I had drank a bottle of water as I was driving, I would have gotten the same feeling. But my crazy self said that 2 bottles of Diet Coke and a bag of Cheez-Its was going to do it.
Now you said in your the course that you took on behavior and triggers and something usually, have you identified what it was in your life that triggered that behavior that led to weight gain? You don't have to share it, but I'm just wondering, have you done that? Like,
so I did. I actually, once we did the trauma class, I went back and did another 8-week course on self-worth. And so there was a large, I've been a big person my whole life as well. And there was a period of time back in the early 2000s where I was kind of living life. I don't know. I was 25, and all of my friends, who seemingly I thought felt like we're all kind of at the same station in life, got to the point to where they started moving on without me. And being a guy that was 360 pounds or whatever, maybe not the most attractive guy or whatever, I didn't have game. I don't know what the deal was, but like being in a serious relationship for me, that was not part of my life back then. And so they start moving on, getting married and that kind of stuff. So then I have to start dealing with all these thoughts of like, maybe this is affecting my self-worth. So I went through nearly a decade of really poor thinking about self. And I let myself get all the way up to, in July of 2007, I weighed like 460 pounds. And that's 64 pounds higher than what I came to WW as. So I truly am over 200 pounds lost from my highest ever human weight. But, that's not the WW stuff. But yeah, so there was, it's just a large period of time where I didn't value myself. And I don't even know that it had fully translated to me valuing myself as a big person. I knew I was big, and I knew there was a lot of things that I limited and couldn't do and that kind of stuff. And, I was always the first person to go into a restaurant to make sure that we got a table so I didn't get stuck with a booth because my belly wasn't going to fit in a booth. Very, very in control of those situations. The crazy modifications that I made in my own life to be able to get into my pants, to be able to go to the bathroom. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Nobody does, but you know what? That was one of my things too. When I realized that I could not attain proper personal hygiene, I was like, no. No. But people don't want to talk about that. Like those of us who have been in those situations, like in that category of obesity, because it's embarrassing. I feel like put it on the table because there's other people who felt that way or are dealing with that. And it was like
So for me, I think it was just going through a period of time of having some healing and finding the self-worth. And I think that's a slow thing. It wasn't like I took a course and figured all that out.
Well, and it can be a scary thing. And there's a quote that talks about how let me think about this. I should look it up, but talks about your demons and how you will never be able to overcome them until you stop enjoying their company. And so that made me really think about what in my life because of dealing with lifelong obesity.
Hmm.
Where did it come from? Where did it start?
Yeah.
What started it? Why did food become my coping mechanism?
Yeah.
And I had said in that same window wisdom about excuses that sometimes it is we use food as a protection
Yeah.
to keep us safe from other situations.
Yeah.
And that goes deep into some emotional
Hmm.
and mental things that maybe people have gone through, traumas they've gone through in their life. And so food feels safe. Food feels like something they get to choose. They are in control of. Nobody else is choosing that
Yeah.
for them, whether they choose it in a supportive way or a non-supportive way. I've really had to, and I'm not going to get super personal, but I've really had to think back in my life and what was it that I was longing for
Hmm.
that caused me to fill that void, like Cynthia, like to comfort myself
Yeah.
with food.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And somebody told me food is something that's always there for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't betray you. It doesn't turn its back on you. You
Hmm.
don't think it does. I mean, turn around, it might turn its back on you. It's going to turn
Yeah.
itself on your back.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
I would say that another thing that is always there for you is yourself.
yeah.
And, learning to love yourself, especially the younger version of yourself.
Mhm.
You know, there was a period of time when I despised that guy because of the choices that he made and
Yep.
the way he made life hard. But I now know that that's not healthy, and I've had to go
Yeah.
back and think about that. And taking that self-worth class was really
Yeah.
introspective on getting to the point to where I can let a lot of that go and say it even though the choices were made by that person, he was doing the best he could do.
Yeah.
And the best fruit out of all of that, and what's so good about WW, and when you do it the right way, and when you gain that healthy habits and those healthy mindsets, you can say that I can live and reside in today and be so happy that where I am today, that it is enough payment for me to say that it is worth me going through all of that to
Mhm.
get here. That the path that I would have gone if I didn't go through that would not be as good as it is to be
Right.
me today.
Yeah. So I 100 like yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've said to Kevin, I feel like where I am, there's that song by Rascal Flatts about the
Mhm.
broken road
Yeah.
that's led me straight to you. And although I do apply that to our marriage, I also think about that in our journey through weight loss.
Hmm.
That broken road, that path that we have tiptoed through, fallen and skinned our knees, that path has led us to who we are today
Yeah.
with the character traits, the resilience, the confidence,
Yeah.
and the courage to do what we're doing now,
Yeah.
And so our past doesn't need us, our future does.
Yeah.
And so I've tried really hard to go ahead and make my peace with the past. I can't change that.
Yeah.
I can try to fix some things that may need fixed or moved forward from, but I need to focus on forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
There's a song. It's I don't know if you're into Enneagrams at all, but Sleeping at Last is a band, and he wrote songs for all the 9 numbers of the Enneagram. And the song he wrote for the number 3 people, which it ironically is like the people that view self and self appearance the most. Like that is one of the cores of them. I'm not a 3, I'm a 7. But there's a song that is called 3, and there's a line that the song ends with, and it just goes through this whole poetic musical story about this person. And when it gets to the end, the very last thing, the stamp that goes on the song is there's an asterisk that says, I'm worthy of love anyway.
mhm.
And I think that one phrase is so
Yeah,
powerful for
yeah,
all of us, because we exempt ourselves from accepting love and giving love and loving ourselves so much because we think that our failures or our successes, good or bad, are the definition of us. And that is not the truth. The
yeah,
truth is that we are emphatically, innately worthy of being loved. It's the same as what's going on in our world right now, despite people's color
Yeah.
or despite their race or their creed
Yeah.
or whoever they are. Every human being is worthy of being loved. Every human being
Yes.
should have the opportunity to thrive in this life. And that's one thing that if I could just say that this is what my purpose in life is to prove that every person is worthy of love, and loving yourself is the way that it should start.
Yep.
From there, as you love yourself, you love your neighbor, and there's no other qualifiers in that.
Yeah, because you can't love your neighbor if you can't love yourself.
Yeah.
Because it says you
Yeah.
love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's and yeah, we could go on about that. But I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Now where
we
do we
have,
go from here?
well, we've it's about to pop off and say we've got like 4 minutes left because the hour goes so fast. We can talk about anything you want to. I always like to end over the last couple of minutes with any questions you would like to have asked of me. You know, I've asked you a bunch of
Well,
questions.
I've asked you some. I asked you to tell me why you think you gained so much weight. I one thing I do appreciate, Phil, and something somebody told me about you the other day was that you love people.
Yeah.
And that you genuinely care about the success of the people that you interact with.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a testimony to your character, because Instagram is a platform, and we may not have started our accounts with the intention to have to interact with so many people, right? Yeah. And so when we make those people, when we extend ourselves to make them feel like they matter, that's where that's where the true connection is.
Yeah.
And that's where success for me in my account is I want those who follow me to know that they matter to me. And you are doing that because somebody told me you're doing that, and that's how they feel about you.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
So I wanted to tell you that. I don't have any questions.
Who's talking about me on the background?
You that.
It's probably somebody I know. I don't know.
No, anyway. Well, you might know them. You might know them, but just that I wanted you to know that that's the reputation that your character is building for you, and I'm proud to have you as my brother in this community.
Yeah, so. Absolutely, and you know, this community has given a ton back to me. There's been so many times when somebody said something to me that really helped me stay on track or whatever, especially in the first year that I did it, before I started the WW Instagram and all of that. I took from this community as much as I could, and then I started to give back as soon as I could, and I think that's what we're all supposed to do. And it may not even make sense for a lot of people to understand that, but I know that in any life, no matter what struggle you have before you, that victory comes by reconnecting with your life's intended purpose and telling your story. That is both a great meme, it's also scripture, and it's true. So however you want to apply it to your life, whether or not you're a cosmic person, it sounds good. If you're a Bible person, it is the truth and thing. But when you reconnect to your purpose and you apply your testimony or your story, then overcoming whatever it is that's before you will happen. So that's because I say it all the time. We are not intended to be epic losing weight. We may lose an epic amount of weight, but my purpose is far greater than the amount of weight that I could ever lose. I have a purpose in this life, and I will give every bit of every day that I can away.
And our losing weight only allows us to do justice to the true purpose. That's how I feel. That's how, it allows me to be more of who I'm supposed to be. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's home. That's when we're home. It's when we're back to where we're supposed to be, and we get to live and thrive inside the skin and feel comfortable and feel happy and content and useful. I think we all want to be that. Sometimes we put ourselves in second place so long that it feels weird to be giving and then get back, but it's why we're created. So we have about 9 seconds, and I will say thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, if you want to do a part 2, let me know.
All right. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thanks, Phil.